Okay, Chad, we are going to run down the top 10 uncommitted 2024 QBs, and there are only 6 of them in the top 10, and we haven't even officially started the 2024 cycle yet. And the biggest one on the board will start at the top with number 1, Dylan Raiola. He's the number 1 player overall, the number 1 quarterback for On3, and he decommitted from Ohio State recently after being committed to the Buckeyes for 6 months. What is the latest on Dylan Raiola's recruitment?
Well, obviously, he made, a pretty big splash by being at the national championship game on Monday night, Josh. And obviously, he does have a sister that plays volleyball at TCU. So there's obviously a dog in the fight there. But Georgia, obviously, is a team I think to watch here. And they've been one. At one time, this time a year ago, Georgia was probably trending as the top school for Dylan Raiola. Other schools got involved, USC, Ohio State, obviously committed to the Buckeyes, but Georgia's never went away. There's been communication. Yes, they do have a commit at the quarterback position, but Raiola is still a prime target for the University of Georgia. I think Lincoln Riley and USC have gotten back in the mix. I think those are the main two. Of course, he is a Nebraska legacy. There's a lot of chatter out there about Matt Rule, maybe waiting before he takes another quarterback until Raiola comes off the board. But I don't think Nebraska is a true contender at this time. Now, things can change very quickly.
Now, a lot of people do think that that's the most likely landing spot for him. Is it just because of the family ties?
I would say if I had to put a most likely, I would put Georgia as that spot today. Nebraska, again, they'd love to be up there with Georgia and SC, but right now they have some ground to make up.
All right. Next up, we have Jadyn Davis. He's the number 17th ranked player overall out of Charlotte, North Carolina. What's the latest with him?
Yeah, he's a kid I thought basically was about to commit probably 2 or 3 times over the last probably 3 or 4 months. So Jadyn's been hitting that pause button a few times here recently. And I think, again, talking to a source there, a quote to me was from someone very close to Jadyn: just let the dust settle and see what happens with these coaching changes. Obviously, Michigan's been the team trending with the Harbaugh news, him maybe going back to the NFL, him interviewing for jobs. What's happening there in Ann Arbor, I think, maybe has given them reason to hit pause one more time. Michigan still is very much in this, but do not sleep on the Clemson Tigers. I'm told they're very much one to watch in this. Penn State's involved as well. And then North Carolina, he's been there as much as anywhere. He loves Mac Brown, the new OC there as well. But I think Michigan's still one to watch. I think Clemson's very much in this too. But Jadyn, again, he could commit, I think, at any time. But right now, he's slowing things back down to, again, what I was told, to let the dust settle. And then I think likely in February, things could happen with Jadyn Davis.
All right. Just a hypothetical. If Jim Harbaugh wasn't flirting with the NFL, would Jadyn Davis be committed yet?
That's tough, because why wasn't he committed there a month ago? There was no NFL. They're going to play in the playoffs and all that. I don't really know what the hesitation has been. Obviously, something's holding Jadyn back from being 100% confident in that commitment. I do think they'll let the dust settle if Harbaugh stays at Michigan. I think the question is, if he commits there, does this happen again next year with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, like it did last year and again this year? So I think there's some questions there about all these kind of kids committing to Michigan. Just who's that leader going to be, not just now or tomorrow, but the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah. All right. Let's go from Charlotte, North Carolina, Santa Ana, California. Checking in at number 45 overall, we have Elijah Brown. What is the latest with his recruitment?
I think this time a year ago, Josh, I would have said that USC is the team to beat for Elijah Brown. Obviously, Lincoln's come in hard. He wants to do damage on the recruiting trail at a place like Modern Day in Santa Ana, California. Obviously, that's one of the most powerful programs in high school football across the country. But right now, I think it's another in-state program trending for Elijah, and that's Stanford. Just the fit based on what I'm hearing academically, on the field, off the field. The new head coach has made him a priority. And he's a very quiet, reserved, analytical type of kid. And I really kind of see that being a good fit for him, who he is as a person and as a player. So right now, Stanford is that one to watch for Elijah Brown.
All right, back over to the East Coast for Michael Van Buren, checking in at number 67 overall out of Baltimore, Maryland. Is this one that Mike Locksley can keep home?
I mean, he'd like to, for sure. I mean, I think it'll be, pretty tough. He's up against some pretty good competition. Obviously, he's right there in the DMV. Actually, I saw Van Buren play against IMG on Maryland's campus at their stadium. Locksley was there, of course, watching the game. So he would love to keep him home. But I think, he'll be back in Oregon in 2 weeks, and the new, OC Will Stein has made him a priority there. Dan Lanning loves him there. Penn State's definitely deep in this as well. Those two, along with Maryland, are 3 schools to watch closely with Michael Van Buren.
All right, and then last in the top 10 uncommitted QBs for the 24 class, we have checking in at number 97, Jake Merklinger out of Savannah, Georgia. Chad, it seemed like when the dominoes were falling early in November, December, some of the top QBs were coming off the board. It seemed like Merklinger was next. What is happening with his recruitment?
Yeah, he's always been one that he said he wanted to take things slow. He's never been a guy that's named top schools. He hasn't cut the list down. He hasn't eliminated anybody yet. I think there's 3 schools to watch right now, and one he'll be at this weekend. That's North Carolina, going up there to Chapel Hill on Sunday. They'll be down to watch him play basketball later this month as well. He expects also Michigan State and Tennessee to send coaches to see him play basketball as well later this month. I think those are the main 3 schools. Obviously others are involved, but those are the 3 that communicate with him the most. He's been to Michigan State a handful of times. They're definitely a dark horse, being obviously up north, Big Ten program, coming down to Savannah, Georgia to recruit a kid like Jake. But I think Tennessee, UNC, and Michigan State have kind of, I don't want to say separated themselves from the pack, but they're 3 that's kind of at least pulled ahead somewhat as far as showing the interest in him right now.
And do you think he could take this thing to the summer or maybe into his senior year? Or when do you think he's going to make a decision?
Yeah, I think summer, yes, is possible. I don't think senior year. I think he'd like to have this process over with going into his senior year, making a run to the state championship. So I do think he could take it into, late spring, early midsummer. But I do think he'll be committed by August when that season starts for him, that senior year.
All right, some great information from you, Chad.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.